Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Living Interfaith Sanctuary on this beautiful Saturday, May 18th. Before we begin, I just want to acknowledge that I'm currently seated on the traditional territories of the Samish and Sauk Seattle Indian tribes, which is currently known as the Upper Skagit Valley in Western Washington. I know that many of you are on the land of other nations, so if you'd like, please feel free to write those nations' names in the chat. And always let us remember our connection to our siblings in these nations, and let us pray for the day in which we might be together in right relationship. Welcome. Welcome to the Living Interfaith. Know that the whole of you is welcome. You're not asked to leave who you are in your own home. Please bring who you are in with you into this community today. But what you are asked to remember is that others here today have brought who they are into this community with them as well. And all of goodwill are welcome. We're sad not to have our musicians Bruce and Cheryl with us today, so we have some recorded songs for us to enjoy. So I understand Rachel will be loading up the first one here, an opening song, and I'll just mute myself. So we have to enjoy that. Okay, I'll mute myself. Thank you. We're going to just start with some announcements this morning. I have a few to share, and then I welcome any others from the community. First of all, I want to give an update about our stewardship campaign that we just finished this past weekend. We're deeply honored to share that it was highly successful. Thanks to the generous contributions of the community here and the community beyond. We've raised more than 85% of our annual budget. There's a shortfalling of about $3,300, which we are working to figure out how to come up with the remainder of that. But your commitment and thank you makes our community stronger. There's still opportunities to donate, of course, to our community. We have very little overhead in terms of what makes this community run, in terms of paying our few staff members and our musicians and keeping, website and things like that going. So if you'd still like to contribute, their link to that was in the email with the link to today's program or on our website here. I think Rachel can upload that into the chat as well. So thanks to everyone who contributed. It was very, very successful. The fact we made 85% is pretty stunning, to be honest. So we applaud everybody's contribution. Next, we have coming up on, oh no, that was yesterday, never mind. Next coming up is the Sacred Arts in Pluralistic Society, an interfaith conference hosted by the Vancouver School of Theology. That's this coming week on Tuesday, May 21st through Thursday, May 23rd. Explore a broad understanding of religious and spiritual art and how it shapes ideas and beliefs, including the visual, musical, literary, and performing arts. You can register I'll add the link, or maybe Rachel can, and to either attend in person or attend on Zoom. And there's a keynote lecture on the Tuesday evening, and then all day talks on Wednesday and Thursday. It's going to be really dynamic. I think there's something like 40 plus speakers going to be presenting papers and talks from a whole bunch of different faith traditions. A wonderful, wonderful opportunity. I've been to ones in the past and just been really blown away by the presentations. So very encouraged. very much encourage anyone to join that. So any other announcements that anybody would like to share in the community today? Near and far, we'd love to hear what's going on. Okay, there being none, I want to invite us to begin by centering ourselves with an opening prayer. This is from the Bab. There is no paradise more wondrous for any soul than to be exposed to God's manifestation in his day, to hear his verses and believe in them, to attain his presence, which is not but the presence of God, to sail upon the sea of the heavenly kingdom of his good pleasure, and to partake of the choice fruits of the paradise of his divine oneness. We have a candle lighting prayer as well.
Yeah, and for a candle lighting prayer, I'm going to share a poem by a member of our community, Parvane Farhangpour. And this poem is called A Leaf. And it's written in conversation to Abdul Baha, the son of the Prophet Bahá'u'lláh. I'm going to share that for us now.
A leaf. Prayers, minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day, merge. Like drops of pure water, they combine, become a brook, a stream, a river. A river that is a torrent at my feet, rushing and surging at my being, uprooting the tree of my being, detaching me from me. Detached like a leaf floating on the water, I will flow with his river, move at his will, follow his decree towards the ocean of his good pleasure. Past the oceans I will sit at his feet like a leaf, like a leaf.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now we're going to pause the recording. Please feel free to unmute yourselves and greet one another with a sign of peace. Peace, everyone. It's so lovely having with you this morning.
Peace be with everyone.
Peace, everyone.
Peace
Peace, everyone.
Peace to you.
Assalamu alaikum. Allahu Abha.
Alaikum
Peace be
assalam.
upon you. Peace to everyone.
Peace be upon you.
Thank you for being with me.
Thank you, friends. Now, please join me in a joint affirmation. Just one moment. Other people see that okay?
Yeah, that's better. Great.
Okay, great. There we go. Please join me together. We come together in peace. We sing together in joy and with love. We worship together in one house, a house with names beyond number. Our paths are many, our beliefs are as leaves, and the tree that we cleave to is nourished by the light of compassion, justice, and mutual respect. May our lives, our beliefs, and our actions help to bring about the world of love we all seek, and let it begin here. Thank you. Now is the time when we take some time to pray in our own homes and in our own ways. As always, there are so many peoples and causes that need our prayers. this week hearing about the significant floodings, of course, that have been going on in Brazil and now in Italy and Germany. Of course, the ongoing conflict and lives lost in Israel and Palestine. Across the planet, there are so many that need our prayers. I invite you to pray for whatever cause speaks to you the most this week. And let's take some time to pray for 2 to 3 minutes in our own homes. Thank you. Thank you, friends. And we'll welcome you back in your own time. Now, our next do we have another song to share? For us to enjoy here. Thank you. That was beautiful. I don't think I appreciate how much I love roses. I just suddenly felt like I wanted to be a big fat bumblebee flying around in that hall. That was beautiful. Thank you. So this is the part of our service where we open up the proverbial bowl to offer and request anybody who would like to contribute to our organization. So many of you are already generous donors, and we just are so thankful for that. If anybody else would like to tip a little bit into the donation of the support of paying for Rachel's salary, Bruce and Cheryl, our musicians who are usually here, but not this time, and for Kathy, and also Zunera, who is our social media marketer, and of course a little bit of overhead, as I said earlier. So here is the link in the chat if anybody would like to donate. Let me just grab that real quick. And then we have a little song to go with that as well. So Rachel load that up. Thank you. And feel free to sing along in your own homes, staying on mute. It's a lovely song.
From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live.
Thank you. Okay, well, now it is my great joy and honor to welcome Dr. Elaine McCreary here today to celebrate the declaration of the Bab. Elaine has authored and delivered courses at the University of Victoria to introduce the Baha'i studies to the general public. These courses have touched on distinctive teachings, central figures, historical expansion, community governance, and contemporary contribution to national and global entities. Elaine is a retired professor from the University of Guelph and served for years as a department coordinator at the Bahá'í World Centre. Elaine, it's my great pleasure to welcome you today, talking about the declaration of the Bab here at the Living Interfaith Sanctuary. So I want to turn it over to you, and you've got the next little while just to share with us. Thank you.
Oh, thanks so much. And if there is a chance, maybe you'd like to, Rachel, there was one more song in there somewhere, but it may depend on how much time we've got. I'm really happy to be here. I recognize some faces. I'm delighted to meet others. And I'm coming to you from the traditional homelands of several Coast Salish peoples, but in particular where I live, it's the Semiahmoo First Nation. My purpose as a Baha'i is to meet and greet, share faith with people of all goodwill, and to work together in our communities here in Surrey and everywhere we live. We need each other. We support each other while yet remaining true to our own spiritual path. So thank you for inviting me to share something about my path with you today. In the annual Baha'i calendar, there are actually three occasions when we dedicate celebration to the Bab. One is his birth. The second is this one that's happening on May 22nd, which is the declaration of his revelation and mission. And then the third is the date of his execution and martyrdom. My own journey began as a Christian child, where I learned about Moses and Jesus, and then I continued for 19 years practicing Raj Yoga, raising my children as yogis, and as more and more came, they also learned about Lord Jesus and Moses and the prophets and Lord Krishna. So I could feel, the divine inspiration in each of these figures, the same power of the Spirit. But I also recognized that they each had a sort of distinctive feeling about them, a kind of signature vibration. So as I began to explore the nature of the Bab, my first question was really, what did he feel like? What was it like to be in his presence? And we do have some recorded impressions. I'll just read you 3 of them. One description says, the gentle, the youthful, and irresistible person of the Bab, matchless in his meekness, imperturbable in his serenity, magnetic in his utterance. And then the first Western historian of this Bahá'í movement that was started by the Bab was Count Gobineau, a French diplomat. And he wrote just after the passing of the Bab in 1865, he wrote with enthusiasm about the Bab's saintliness, loftiness of his ideals, his charm, his eloquence, and the astonishing power of his words over friends and foes. Then we're going to hear today a bit about the story of Mullah Husayn, who was the first to recognize the elevated station of the Bab, the divine station of the Bab. And there's a little bit about Mullah Husayn. As he walked and pondered his own search, he came face to face with a youth of striking appearance, a young man who was gentle and gracious, whose turban of green proclaimed his descent from the Prophet Muhammad. This young man greeted him with great kindness. Mullah Husayn was amazed and overwhelmed by the warmth of this unexpected welcome. It was the courtesy coupled with the dignified mien of this young Siyyid, this descendant of Muhammad, the Prophet, which particularly impressed him. So then, personally, the second thing I wanted to know was, what was it like in his time? What was the historical context and the conditions? And I was surprised to learn that in many cultures, it was a period of great expectation. So we have just a short video. Are you able to show that, Rachel?
Yes, this is the roots of the Bahá'í Faith, correct?
Yeah, it's just 1 minute and 50 seconds.
Okay.
Just as all of the world's major religions have dawned in the East, the Bahá'í Faith had its roots in Iran, which once was known as Persia. It was the middle of the 19th century. An air of religious fervor permeated Christian, Jewish, and Islamic countries around the world. Predictions by Bible scholars sparked a new wave of evangelism and the birth of Adventist denominations. Thousands flocked to the Middle East to await the appearance of the Messiah. Meanwhile, in Shiraz, Iran, a young merchant quietly proclaimed that he was the bearer of a revelation from God, referring to himself as the Bab, meaning the gate. He explained that he was the forerunner of a divine teacher greater than himself, who would soon appear and bring about a new age of unity and peace. The Bab's spiritual and moral teachings spread rapidly throughout Persian society. He promoted the upliftment of women and the poor, and encouraged universal education and the study of science, themes considered radical in a society still steeped in centuries-old traditions. Perceiving the progressive new faith as a threat, religious and civil authorities.
Yes, so religious and civil authorities, similarly to how Jesus had been harassed by powerful figures that thought he was a worldly threat, he was executed. Now, ultimately, over the course of only 6 years, the Bab would reveal hundreds of essays and books, attracting literally tens and tens of thousands of followers. His writings included commentaries on the Quran, moving to philosophical commentaries that gave new meanings to such important concepts as God, religion, the nature of prophets, heaven and hell, and resurrection. And finally, his writings turned to a legislative stage where he combined mystical and historical principles concerning religion and supporting the essential nobility and progress of human souls. But of greatest importance, perhaps, throughout all of his teaching and writing was his affirmation that his role was to prepare the way, to prepare the people to recognize and receive a messianic figure who would follow him, and to whom he referred mysteriously as him whom God shall make manifest, meaning the person of Baha'u'lláh. But today we're focusing on that first night in 1844, when Mullah Husayn, who was a dedicated, scholarly, devoted, spiritual seeker, found his way to Shiraz and met this mysterious figure and entered into the home of the Bab, ascending to an upper room where they took tea. And we can learn a lot from the personal story of Mullah Husayn, because he, like us, are seekers. And so Mullah Husayn's greatest desire in his own spiritual search was that when he found the one he was looking for, he would be able to receive a commentary, an explanation of the Surah of Joseph, which is chapter 12 in the Quran. And as the night proceeded, he didn't dare put the question, but suddenly the Bab launched upon such a commentary. And I say launch because I want to read what Mullah Husayn said about that moment. He, the Bab, took up his pen and with incredible rapidity revealed the entire first chapter of his commentary on the Surah of Joseph. The overpowering effect of the manner in which he wrote was heightened by the gentle intonation of his voice, which accompanied his writing. Not for one moment did he interrupt the flow of the verses which streamed from his pen. Not once did he pause till the entire commentary was finished. And then Mullah Husayn says, I sat enraptured by the magic of his voice and the sweeping force of his revelation. So this is how part of the nighttime progressed. Bab was announcing a new age of humanity to be brought about by an unprecedented outpouring of revelation, both by himself and the far greater manifestation to follow. So I'd like to return to the account of Mullah Husayn, of what it was like for him to be exposed to this first night of revelation. This revelation, so suddenly and impetuously thrust upon me, came as a thunderbolt, which for a time seemed to have benumbed my faculties. I was blinded by its dazzling splendor and overwhelmed by its crushing force. Excitement, joy, awe, and wonder stirred the depths of my soul. Predominant among these emotions was a sense of gladness and strength. which seemed to have transfigured me. Now, just a time out, I want to share with you that I served for a time as a guide in the archives, the museum where artifacts and relics are preserved from the early days of Baha'i history. And inside that museum, I often showed pilgrims the sword of Mullah Husayn, which was large, as in my memory, it was longer than a meter. And he once used this sword to fell a small tree in just one blow. But what's important is to understand that Mullah Husayn was petite. He was a little guy, and he had been known for the weakness of his constitution. He was sickly as well as small of stature. So how did he find the force to yield that sword? And we'll go back to his story of the night of the declaration. How feeble and impotent, how dejected and timid I had felt previously. Then I could neither write nor walk, so tremulous were my hands and feet. Now, however, the knowledge of his revelation had galvanized my being. I felt possessed of such courage and power that were the world with all its peoples and potentates to rise against me, I would alone and undaunted withstand their onslaught. So just another time out. So the thing about revelation is that it throws light on what we thought we knew. It reveals different answers to questions like, who am I? Where am I? What is this place? Where is it going? What is it for? So transforming everything with a new understanding, a new vision of what is heaven and what is earth. So no wonder Mullah Husayn was in shock. And I'll conclude his story by sharing what he said as he emerged the morning after the revelation of the Bab. The universe seemed but a handful of dust in my grasp. I seemed to be the voice of Gabriel personified, calling unto all mankind, awake, for lo, the morning light has broken. Arise, for his cause is made manifest. The portal of his grace is opened wide. Enter therein, O peoples of the world. So we see in his story the effect on Mullah Husayn from witnessing this night, this declaration of the Bab. It brought him a sense of great hope for humanity, that all things are possible for the divine, that despite all evidence to the contrary, humanity is redeemable. It will achieve progress unequaled at any time in its past, and it will ultimately attain its unity and peace. Following that night, 18 disciples were gradually, spontaneously drawn to the Bab, some in sleep, others while awake, some through fasting and prayer, others through dreams and visions. They discovered the object of their quest and were enlisted under the banner of a newborn faith. In all, the ministry of the Bab was short, intense, tragic, heroic, and transformative, preparing for the advent of Baha'u'lláh. And so we're moving towards a piece of music. After his execution, the body of the Bab and the disciple who was hung with him, and their bodies, 750 rifles, they were shot together. So the Bab and his beloved disciple are buried together as one. And these remains were hidden for half a century from the persecutors of this new faith. And they were finally entombed in a beautiful white shrine, topped with a golden globe that a golden not globe, a dome that is situated on Mount Carmel, looking across the bay at the shrine of Bahá'u'lláh, for whom the Bab lived and gave his life. So in our closing music from this section, you'll see the shrine of the Bab set in the midst of terraced gardens, a whole kilometer of gardens that go up the mountain. And its beautiful stately appearance is such that it's been called the Queen of Carmel, the Queen of Mount Carmel. So I hope you enjoy this music.
Standing on a mountain, looking across the bay, the Queen of Carmel reigns. She reigns majestically. Cry out, O Zion, cry out to your Lord. Cry out, O Zion. Circle round in adoration. Circle round your Lord. Unto God, the Lord of lords, belong kingdoms of earth and heaven. Land and sea, rejoice this day, the day of revelation. Cry out, O Zion, cry out to your Lord. Cry out, O Zion. Circle round in adoration. Circle round your
Robed in white and crowned in gold, she stands for unity. God will sail his ark from deep, as mentioned in the book of names. Cry out, Zion. Cry out to your Lord. circle round in adoration.
Circle round your Lord.
Circle round in adoration.
Circle round your Lord.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Elaine, for your talk today on the Declaration of the Bab. It was so heartfelt. I took away so many pieces from it, which I'm going to include here in this final prayer. So we're just going to end the service now with a closing prayer. And then folks are welcome to stay after the service for a little while to chat with the speaker. Elaine, if you have time to stay for a few minutes to talk, wonderful. All right, let's lift our hearts to the divine final prayer here together. May we stay awake. May we be wakened. May we continue to find energy in the work that we do. Make our seeker hearts remain open. And may the balance of both the furrow and the force of our energy be matched with the gentleness and kindness of our spirits as we work towards liberation, peace, healing, and unity of the world, and holding our hope for humanity together. May it be so.